What if I told you the world's most popular app isn't just entertaining you, it's rewiring your brain? Every time you open TikTok, scroll for just 5 minutes, and lose yourself for half an hour, something deeper is happening. Your brain isn't just watching videos. It's being trained to crave stimulation, trained to reject silence, trained to demand constant novelty. TikTok is not just another app. It's a neurological weapon designed to capture your attention, fragment your focus, and reshape the way your brain processes information. Think about it. Why do you find it harder now to finish a book? Why do you feel restless after only a few minutes of stillness? Why does your mind constantly reach for the phone, even when you know there's nothing new waiting? That's not weakness. That's not lack of willpower. That's your brain adapting, rewiring itself to fit the rhythm of the app. And here's the shocking part. This isn't an accident. The platform is engineered to hijack your dopamine system, the same system that motivates you to eat, learn, love, and survive. Every swipe, every flash of a new video, every unpredictable laugh or shock or surprise is carefully crafted to keep you hooked. And the more you consume, the more your brain changes. Attention span shrinks. Impulse control weakens. Patience disappears. This is why so many people feel distracted, anxious, even addicted, not just to TikTok, but to the speed it teaches the mind to crave. So the real question isn't, do I use TikTok too much? The real question is, what is TikTok doing to my brain, and can I take control back? In this video, you'll discover the science behind how TikTok is rewiring your neural pathways, and the steps you can take to protect, retrain, and reclaim your focus. Because once you see what's really happening inside your mind, you'll never look at the For You page the same way again. You felt it. You pick up your phone to check TikTok for just a minute. A few swipes later, an hour has vanished. The work you promised yourself you'd finish is untouched. The book you wanted to read sits unopened. And yet, your thumb keeps scrolling. It feels like time is slipping through your fingers. And the worst part? You know it's happening. You're aware that the app is pulling you in, but you can't seem to break free. Later, you close the app with a heavy sigh. You feel drained, guilty, even a little ashamed. You whisper to yourself, why do I keep doing this? Why can't I just stop after 1 or 2 videos? The truth is, it's not just you. Millions of people are caught in the same loop, hooked on an endless stream of short videos, unable to focus, unable to resist the pull. Think about how many times you've caught yourself reaching for your phone before bed, promising to stop. After 5 minutes, only to fall asleep an hour later, restless. Sitting at your desk, planning to work, but somehow TikTok sneaks in just for a break, and suddenly half your focus for the day is gone. Talking with friends or family, but the moment there's silence, your brain begs for the quick fix of the For You page. It's not just distraction. It's training. Your brain is being conditioned to crave constant novelty and reject anything slower, deeper, or requiring patience, and it's not harmless. Because once you step back into the real world, everything feels dull. That long article? Boring. That lecture? Impossible to sit through. That project? Overwhelming. Even conversations with people you love can feel like they move too slowly. So you go back to the app, back to the fast pace, back to the instant rewards. And little by little, your attention span shrinks. Your tolerance for silence disappears. Your ability to focus on meaningful tasks, the kind that build your future, fades. This is why so many people today feel restless, anxious, and mentally scattered. It's not just about wasting time. It's about losing control. Because when your brain is constantly hijacked by someone else's algorithm, who's really in charge of your life? And maybe you've noticed something else. When you try to stop, it feels uncomfortable, almost painful. Like your brain is craving the next hit, the next video, the next spike of stimulation. That craving isn't weakness, it's wiring. Your brain has been rewired to expect constant bursts of dopamine. And when they're not there, you feel empty, bored, even restless. That's why it's so hard to break away. Because you're not just fighting a habit, you're fighting biology. But here's the good news. Once you understand how this rewiring works, you can retrain your brain. You can break free from the loop, rebuild your focus, and rediscover the joy of deep attention. And that's exactly what we're about to explore. TikTok isn't just an app, it's a laboratory, one that runs experiments on your brain every time you swipe. To understand what's happening, we need to look at three key systems: dopamine, attention, and memory. At the core of TikTok's design is the brain's dopamine system. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that motivates you to act, keeps you seeking rewards, and reinforces habits. It's not just the pleasure chemical, it's the pay attention and repeat this chemical. Here's the catch. Dopamine doesn't respond to guaranteed rewards. It spikes highest when rewards are unpredictable. That's why slot machines are addictive. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. Your brain never knows what's next, so it keeps pulling the lever. TikTok works the same way. Every swipe is a lever pull. Sometimes you laugh, sometimes you're shocked, sometimes you're inspired. The unpredictability keeps you hooked because your brain is chasing the next dopamine spike. This design turns TikTok into a slot machine for attention. Your brain has limited attention resources, controlled mainly by the prefrontal cortex. This part of your brain helps you plan, focus, and regulate impulses. But TikTok overloads this system. Each short video demands immediate focus, then ends before your attention can settle. Within seconds, another video arrives, with a completely new theme, tone, and emotional trigger. This trains your brain to switch rapidly between contexts, a skill that's useful for scrolling, but destructive for deep focus. Studies on short form video consumption show a measurable decrease in sustained attention. The more you consume, the harder it becomes to stick with tasks that require patience. That's why reading a book, watching a lecture, or working on a long project feels almost unbearable after hours of TikTok. Your brain has been rewired to crave novelty every 10-15 seconds. Another hidden effect is what happens to memory. When you learn something deeply, your brain relies on the hippocampus to encode the information, transfer it to long-term storage, and integrate it with what you already know. This requires sustained attention, but TikTok interrupts that process. Because the videos are so short and diverse, your hippocampus never gets enough time to encode properly. Instead of building deep memories, you end up with fragments, flashes, of random content that rarely stick. That's why, after an hour of scrolling, you can barely recall a single video in detail. You were entertained in the moment, but nothing lasting remained. It's like eating spoonfuls of sugar all day. Lots of energy spikes, but no real nutrition. Combine these three forces: dopamine unpredictability, attention hijack, and memory fragmentation, and you get a powerful addiction loop. Dopamine anticipation. What's next? Quick novelty hit, brief excitement, memory failure. Nothing sticks, leaving you unsatisfied. Craving grows. You keep scrolling, hoping the next one will feel better. This loop keeps millions of people stuck, sometimes for hours a day, without even realizing their brain chemistry is being reshaped. Here's the critical point. Your brain is plastic. That means it changes based on what you repeatedly do. If you train it with TikTok, it becomes faster at novelty seeking and worse at deep focus. If you feed it constant unpredictability, it adapts by demanding more unpredictability. If you stop giving it silence and stillness, it becomes intolerant of silence and stillness. Over time, this isn't just a habit. It's a rewiring, and the changes are visible. Brain imaging studies show that heavy, short-form video use is associated with reduced gray matter in regions linked to attention and self-control. That means your brain literally reshapes itself to fit the pace of the app. This isn't just about entertainment. It's about how you live, think, and connect. Relationships suffer because deep conversations feel too slow. Learning suffers because sustained focus feels impossible. Creativity suffers because original ideas require silence and boredom. Two states TikTok trains you to avoid. And the scariest part? These effects are strongest in younger brains, but no one is immune. Adults, too, are reshaping their neural pathways every time they scroll. The bottom line? TikTok isn't harmless fun. It's a powerful tool that can literally rewire the circuits of your brain. But here's the good news. If your brain can be rewired one way, it can also be rewired back. And in the next part, we'll look at the everyday signs of this rewiring, so you can recognize them in your own life before learning how to take control again. It's late at night. You promised yourself you'd go to bed early, but before turning off the light, you open TikTok, just for 5 minutes. The first video makes you laugh, the next one surprises you, then comes something shocking, then something oddly satisfying. Your brain feels like it's on fire, in a good way. Every swipe brings a new hit, a new emotion, a new burst of energy. But then, something strange happens. Time disappears. You look at the clock, and it's 1 hour later. You sigh, frustrated. How did this happen again? You close the app, place the phone down, and try to sleep. But your mind keeps racing. Flashes of random videos bounce around in your head, refusing to settle. Sleep feels harder. Your brain is overstimulated, and in the morning, you wake up tired. You wonder why you feel drained before the day even begins. Now imagine you're at work. You open your laptop to focus on a report, but your brain, restless, whispers, "Let's just check TikTok for a break." You obey. You scroll. And before you know it, 30 minutes are gone. When you finally return to your task, something feels different. The report looks boring. The words won't stick. You try to concentrate, but your brain keeps craving the fast pace of the For You page. Every paragraph feels like a struggle. Every sentence feels too slow. It's not just distraction anymore, it's withdrawal. Your brain has learned to expect stimulation at lightning speed, and normal life can't compete. Or maybe you've noticed it in conversations. You're talking to a friend, but after just a few minutes, your mind drifts. You reach for your phone under the table, searching for that familiar rush. The person keeps talking, but you're not really there. You nod, you smile, but inside, you're restless. Your brain is saying, "This is too slow. I need something faster." And afterward, you feel guilty. You know you missed moments that mattered, but you also know you'll do it again. If you connect these dots, late nights lost to scrolling, work projects harder to finish, conversations harder to enjoy, a clear picture emerges. TikTok isn't just a habit. It's shaping how your brain experiences time, focus, and presence. It steals your sleep. It drains your productivity. It weakens your relationships. And worst of all, it convinces you that life outside the app is too slow, too boring, too dull. This is why so many people feel trapped. Because they're not just addicted to content. They're addicted to the speed at which their brain now expects the world to move. But here's the turning point. The moment you recognize this pattern, you begin to regain power. Because if your brain has been trained into this state, it can also be trained out. If it learned to crave constant novelty, it can also learn to rediscover depth, patience, and clarity. And in the next section, we'll explore exactly how to do that. Now that you understand how TikTok rewires your brain through dopamine unpredictability, attention hijack, and memory fragmentation, let's talk about how to take your mind back. You don't need to delete TikTok forever. You don't need to cut yourself off from all technology. But you do need a system, one that retrains your brain step by step to regain focus, patience, and control. Here are 5 powerful strategies you can use starting today. The first step is to create dopamine distance. Every swipe on TikTok is like pulling a slot machine lever. Your brain gets hooked on unpredictable dopamine spikes. To break that loop, you need distance. But distance doesn't mean quitting cold turkey. It means making TikTok harder to access so your brain has time to reset. Move the app off your home screen, hide it inside a folder, set a 5-minute app timer, and actually respect it. Schedule TikTok time instead of opening it mindlessly. By, say, creating friction, you give your brain space to realize, I don't need this right now. Over time, this lowers the frequency of dopamine hits, and your brain begins to calm down. The second step is to replace quick hits with deep rewards. Stopping is not enough. You need to give your brain something better to crave. Dopamine is not the enemy, it's how you use it that matters. So instead of chasing endless 15-second videos, you retrain dopamine by giving it satisfaction from longer, meaningful actions. Swap scrolling with reading a few pages of a book. Replace short videos with a podcast episode. Write down one idea, one reflection, or one journal entry after work. At first, this feels boring, because your brain is used to fireworks every 10 seconds. But within days, the system begins to adapt. Your dopamine recalibrates, and suddenly slower activities start feeling rewarding again. This is how you rebuild patience. The third step is to rebuild focus with attention training. Think of focus like a muscle. If TikTok weakens it, you can strengthen it again. The method? Attention training. Use the 25-5 rule. 25 minutes of focused work, 5 minutes of rest. Repeat 3 times. Practice monotasking. Do one activity at a time, no switching, even for 10 minutes. Try boredom training. Sit in silence for 2 minutes without reaching for your phone. Every time you resist the urge to escape, you grow stronger. Every rep builds endurance. And soon, tasks that once felt unbearable become manageable again. The fourth step is to reprogram your environment. Willpower alone won't save you. You need to shape your environment, so focus becomes the default. If TikTok is one tap away, you'll open it. If notifications are flashing, you'll check them. But if distractions are out of sight, they're out of mind. Keep your phone in another room during work or study sessions. Use website app blockers to stop impulse browsing. Design your workspace with only the essentials. No clutter, no temptations. The less friction between you and your work, the easier it is to start. The more friction between you and distractions, the easier it is to resist. The fifth step is to anchor to meaning and identity. Here's the most powerful step. Connect your actions to who you want to be. TikTok feels irresistible when life outside the app feels dull or meaningless. But when you remind yourself why focus matters, resistance gets easier. Ask yourself, who do I want to be in the next 5 years? And is endless scrolling taking me there? Write down your long-term goals where you can see them daily. Before opening the app, pause and ask, is this helping or stealing from my future self? Visualize the version of you who's calm, focused, and in control. This anchors your choices to something bigger than entertainment. It turns willpower into identity. Let's be honest, you will slip. There will be nights when you scroll longer than you planned, but beating yourself up only fuels the cycle. Shame creates stress, stress triggers avoidance, and avoidance leads you right back to TikTok. Instead, practice compassion. Okay, I slipped today, but I'm learning. Tomorrow, I'll try again. This mindset keeps you moving forward instead of stuck in guilt. So here's your roadmap. Dopamine distance. Make TikTok harder to access. Deep rewards. Replace short hits with meaningful activities. Attention training. Rebuild focus with daily practice. Environment design. Shape your space to favor focus. Anchor to meaning. Connect every choice to your bigger goals. Compassion. Forgive slips, keep going. This isn't about quitting TikTok completely. It's about taking control. It's about making sure you are using the app, not the other way around. Because the truth is, your brain is always rewiring. The only question is, who's in control of the wiring, you or the algorithm? Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, and instead of reaching for your phone immediately, you pause. You breathe. You let the silence settle. For the first time in a long time, you don't feel that urgent pull toward the For You page. You make your coffee. You sit at your desk. Normally, your brain would be restless, begging for stimulation. But today, you take one small step. You open your notebook and write down a single sentence. Something shifts. You don't feel panicked. You don't feel distracted. You feel calm. That one sentence becomes a paragraph. The paragraph becomes a page. Time flows. And before you know it, 2 hours have passed. And you're proud, not ashamed. Now picture this over a week. Instead of hours lost in scrolling, you find hours invested in building something real. Instead of lying in bed overstimulated, you fall asleep peacefully. Instead of forgetting random fragments of videos, you remember the deep conversations, the projects. You moved forward, the clarity you gained. Your brain, once hijacked by constant novelty, begins to crave focus again. Your attention span grows, your patience returns. Silence, once unbearable, becomes comfortable, even refreshing. And the best part, it's not just about productivity, it's about freedom. Freedom to be present with people you love. Freedom to enjoy a meal without your phone on the table. Freedom to create, to learn, to grow, without the constant itch of distraction. Because TikTok may be designed to rewire your brain, but you now hold the tools to rewire it back. You're no longer a passenger, pulled by an algorithm you can't see. You're the driver again. And with every choice, every small step, you strengthen that control. This isn't just about beating procrastination or finishing tasks. It's about reclaiming your mind. And when you reclaim your mind, you reclaim your life. So let's bring everything together. TikTok isn't just an app. It's a system designed to capture your attention, flood your brain with unpredictable dopamine hits, and rewire the way you think, feel, and focus. That constant novelty shortens your attention span, weakens your memory, and makes real life feel too slow. But it's not permanent, because the same brain that adapts to TikTok can also adapt back. Neuroplasticity is a double-edged sword. And now, you know how to use it. Start with distance. Replace quick hits with deeper rewards. Train your focus with simple exercises. Shape your environment so focus feels natural. Anchor your actions to meaning, and treat yourself with compassion when you slip. Every time you do this, you're not just fighting distraction. You're building trust with yourself. You're proving that you are stronger than the algorithm. So here's my invitation. If this video gave you clarity, subscribe and turn on the bell, because this is just the beginning. In the next video, we'll explore how technology doesn't just steal your attention, it rewires your very identity, and how to take it back. And if you found value here, leave a like. It tells YouTube to show this video to more people who feel trapped in the cycle of distraction, just like you. Remember, you are not broken, you are not weak, you are human, and that means you can rewire your brain, not for endless scrolling, but for clarity, focus, and freedom. This is how you take your mind back. This is how you amplify it.